Quite a clever effect that has been used for centuries really in printed materials is to have what's called a drop capital at the beginning of paragraphs. Obviously, Word, being the best word processing package there is, can do drop capitals. So if we take our Access manual and we feel we want it to look more like a manuscript and a large document, we could add in some drop capitals. In order to do that, we simply place our cursor in the paragraph we would like to have a drop capital on. Then we go to Insert and come all the way across to Drop Cap, which is in the text group. Now there is a drop down arrow that says None, which is our current state of play. Dropped, where the dropped letter is contained within the paragraph, so you can see there the D becomes a dropped letter, or it's in the margin. So the letter is removed from the first character of the paragraph and placed in the left-hand margin. Now either effect is quite clever. Possibly leaving it within the body of the text does look better. There are also some options. This is straightforward, you choose one or the other, or we can go into the drop cap options. And you can see here, there are your two options, dropped within the paragraph or dropped within the margin. Having chosen one of the choices, you then have a choice of lines to drop. So how many lines does it cover when it drops? So I could choose 2 instead of the 3. And what is the distance from the letter to the text? Currently it's 0 inch, so the letter is there and the text is straight away, but we can increase that. Let's go to 1 to see the dramatic effect. Okay. And you can see there is a big gap then between the drop letter and the text. Let's go back and adjust that. Bring it back to 0 and make the drop cap go over 8 lines. Okay. And you can see there it becomes a much bigger letter to fit in proportion over the 8 lines you've chosen. Now what effectively Word has done is created you a little graphic with the letter in, which means you can actually resize that graphic yourself. So if we select the outsides of it, we get a set of resize handles. And if I make sure I grab a corner one, I can drag my letter, in this case D, inwards so it covers less lines, or outwards so it covers more. So instead of relying on the drop cap menu up here, drop caps, drop cap options, to decide how many lines to cover, I can just say let's have a drop cap and then manipulate it myself until it looks at its best. Probably a little bit too large, I think. Let's go so it just covers the first 2 paragraphs. Now one thing you do have to be careful of, because it's an object and it has been converted, if I delete it while it's selected like it is, so just delete on the keyboard, I actually lose the letter D from my text. So it doesn't convert it back, it actually removes the object, in this case a large letter D. So I would have to put the letter D back. Not to worry, I can undo to go backwards to my drop cap. If I want to go back to just the letter and do the menu system rather than delete the object and retype the D, then I simply go back to drop cap and choose None, and I'm reverted back to just the letter D. Now sometimes for even better effect, you actually don't want to have a single letter as your drop cap letter at the beginning, but you want to use a whole word. Well, that's achievable in Word as well, effectively using the same command, but before we go to it, we firstly have to select the word. So for example, in this first paragraph, databases, if I want the whole word databases to drop down the left-hand side of the paragraph, then I select databases, go up to drop cap, and simply choose the dropped option, and you can see the word databases then increases to cover 3 lines of text. Well, let's do that. And then I can graphically drag the edge of it, just as I do when it was a single letter, so that it increases in size and potentially becomes too big so the text cannot fit. Or we can go smaller, so it fits on less lines, perhaps just down to 2. But as you can see, doing it graphically isn't always the best way to do it, and you might be best sticking with the drop cap options, and let's go for 2 lines. Okay, and then it fits and is made to fit perfectly on 2 lines. So that's the drop caps option. A single letter, a whole word, a number of letters can drop to the left of a paragraph, and then the paragraph effectively wraps around it.